What I'd like to show you today is the different things that I use in my home and at work that I find indispensable. It seems like when you purchase something for your home, like your kitchen, if it doesn't work out for you, you have a tendency of tucking it away in a drawer. Before you know it, you just have this drawer full of gadgets you don't use. When I started this YouTube channel, the first 3 videos that I posted, 2 of them had to deal with sharpening a knife. Sharpening a knife is single-handedly the most crucial thing that you're going to need to do if you're going to cook anything. Because if you don't sharpen your knife properly, you lose the best resource that you have. As I showed you in my first videos, there's 2 parts to sharpening a knife. You have your sharpening and you have your honing. Sharpening, honing. You only sharpen 10% of the time and you hone 90% of the time. When the knife is no longer sharp because the honing doesn't work any longer, you resort to your sharpener. This device is a work sharp device. It's indispensable. I use it all the time in my restaurant. It's very simple. Watch my video on how to sharpen a knife. Extremely easy to use. You're gonna need this if you're gonna have a sharp knife in your kitchen. And then, this is the Razor Edge System Mousetrap. It's the Mini. Again, strictly for honing, really an excellent product. Keep it on your kitchen counter, run your knife through it, a couple strokes, and you'll always have a sharp knife. Now, knives. Thousands of ways you can go with a knife. I use Dexter Russell knives. They're light, they hold an edge relatively well, they're comparatively inexpensive to other knives. This is the 10-inch chef. It may not work for you. It may be too big. They make an 8-inch chef. I like the plastic handle. It's easy to clean. It's a great overall knife. Is it a master chef's knife? No. It's strictly a utilitarian knife, but it's great, and it's something I use all the time comfortably. So I recommend you take a look at this. They also make some other knives. I use this one for filleting and for cleaning up meat and things like that. Again, cheap, effective. And this is a serrated edge. Now, I think that you can sharpen this serrated edge knife using the systems. I just don't. They don't get dull. It takes a really long time for this knife to get dull. So when this knife is done, and it is dull, which could take years, I just throw it out and buy another one. If you have the sharpening systems I recommend and these inexpensive knives, you're all set. You don't really need to go any further than that. What other gadgets do I use? You've seen me mention these over and over again. This is a thermometer by a company called ThermoWorks. I love their products. They're great. My only complaint about it is you have to be extremely careful with the probe that comes with it. If the probe gets wet or gets overheated or the wire gets twisted, it stops working, and that's an unfortunate thing. But if you're careful with it, you'll get years of use out of them. There's 2 types. If you're just gonna measure a high temp and you want quick, fast, and easy, go with the dot. Save yourself some money. If you're looking for low temp and high temp with a timer, go with the shelf alarm. Great products. Little gadgets that you find around the kitchen. I use this microplane, right? It's excellent. I use it mostly for finely grating ginger, zesting lemons, zesting limes, grating nutmegs. It's wonderful. It's cheap. You'll have it forever. It's the microplane. Great thing to have. This is my favorite peeler. I think I've had this one for over 10 years. I use it regularly. It's an OXO comfort grip peeler. Don't go cheap on a peeler. You know, you buy these $3 or $4 peelers, then you wind up doing something hard, the blade pops off, it bends, get something. This is not terribly expensive. I highly recommend this peeler. If you like to cook apple pies or you do a lot with apples, this apple core, which you can also core pears with, is a Le Creuset item. It's great. You don't necessarily have to go with Le Creuset, but this one's really well made. Again, maybe 15 years I've had it, still available. just makes life so much easier when you want to core an apple. If you like to core an apple. That's probably beyond most of people's time. I picked up this whisk, like, I thought it was just a whisk, so I bought it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, if you have a small bowl and you want to whisk quickly, I thought, oh, this is pretty great. But what this does, it's spring-loaded. It's made in Italy. It's called an Astelli. And it's great if you have something in a glass. So you just put it in there and push down. I don't know if you can see that, but it just kind of does the whisking for you. And I thought this was kind of gimmicky, and I really wasn't into it too much, but I said, man, you know, it comes in pretty handy. So I like it, and I use it regularly. As you can see, I'm really not a big gadget guy. Like, I like to keep things really simple. I don't want to go out of my way to, oh, where'd that one thing go, where'd that other thing go? These things work for me. You're gonna have to find out what works for you. It's your kitchen. You may say, hey, you know, I have a laundry list of other stuff that I use. And you know, realistically, this is what I use 99% of the time. I have other things, but I don't use them that often. The most important thing is to really know how to use a knife. That is key. Learn to use a knife. Watch my video on how to cut, watch my video on how to sharpen, and you can eliminate a lot of gadgets in the kitchen. Now, as far as pots are concerned and pans, things of that nature, for my home, I really like the Le Creuset brand. There's pluses though, and there's minuses. This particular pan here, it's a 4-quart pan. My wife actually got me turned on to these types of saute pans because they don't have handles. I mean, long handles. And it really is convenient because a lot of times when you're on a stove, you don't want these long handles. But what I really like about this particular pan, I don't own a microwave. I do all of my reheating in this. This pan here never leaves my stovetop. It's great. I love the glass lid. I've had this, you're looking at it here, it's 10 years old. Has it been abused? Yeah, but man, it really held up. For the price, I think it'll cost you, if you have it for 10 years and you use it every single day, it'll cost you 15 bucks a year. I think if you bought an inexpensive pan, it would probably be done within a few months if you use it as often as I use this. This pan is ceramic coated. It does not have Teflon, but if you want to go with another non-stick pan, I recommend that you do the research, make sure that the coating isn't toxic, make sure it's not Teflon, make sure it doesn't have any chemicals in it. It's not going to hurt you. Like I said, do not own a microwave. I can heat stuff in here faster than if I had a microwave, and more consistently. What about the other Le Creuset line of pots and pans? Okay, love them. Pluses, they will give you decades of endless use. They will give you consistent warming because they're porcelain coated cast iron. You can't get a better pot. They are pricey, that's number one, but you buy them once for your house. What are the negatives? Well, the negatives are, it's really heavy. So if you have a hard time lifting things, if you have arthritic problems or things of that nature, you may want to stay away from this because it is ridiculously heavy. I bought it for a workout. I'm in the kitchen all the time, so I use it a lot. It doesn't bother me. Another negative, they say it has a lifetime warranty, and I'm sure that somewhere along the line it does. But you see how the bottom of this thing gets stained? It doesn't affect the performance of the pot in any way whatsoever, but they don't cover that under warranty. So if you don't mind looking at the stain for the rest of your life and progressively watching it get worse, that's what's gonna happen to it. That's a downside. Other than that, I like the Le Creuset line. Do I use this at the restaurant? No. I think I would have 5,000 workman's compensation claims if I used it at my restaurant because it's so heavy. And this is not the kind of pot you want to throw around. You kind of want to be careful and gentle with it. I almost forgot to mention this guy here, which I use every single day. It's an infrared thermometer. I picked this one up from Amazon. It tells me the surface temperature of pots and pans, of oil before I add food in it to fry. It really gives you an excellent gauge, and it's not terribly expensive. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you watching, and in upcoming episodes, we'll be using a lot of this stuff.